Sit! Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Dotson, here with my fellow nerd, Garret Price.
How's it going?
It's going pretty swell. No matter Hera today. He is on the beach of the ocean, tanning them toes. Maybe he's wearing a Speedo and those cheeks are getting tan. Who knows? None of my business. You know, I ain't looking. I'm not asking for proof, documentation. You know, I don't know what's going on down there. It's between him, the son, and his wife. But I hope
to be fair, we did see a picture of his toes.
I know. He sent it to me right. Yeah, he sent it to us right away. He's like, hey, guys.
So we actually do know.
And I was like, oh, thank you so much.
We do have documentation.
Would you wear a Speedo to the beach?
I don't think I could. I don't think I could ever bring myself to do it.
Yeah, like I'm a confident person. Like
That'd
more
take
so
a
like
lot of confidence.
Yeah, like I'm confident and I really don't care what people think of me. Like I'm a big like if my parent, like I don't really get embarrassed, you know what I mean? Because like, oh,
right,
shit,
right.
That happened. Okay, well, it sucks. Yeah, it's embarrassing, I guess, for some people, but I mean, I'm not happy about it. But like, I think the biggest thing is like I'm also respectable. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Sometimes, just from a male perspective, just again, I'm sure, like shout out to it's Pride Month, like June. Like I'm sure some people would appreciate like that, and I'm not saying just to me. I just feel like it's so revealing.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, like some people can get away with it and not look like low key pervy. Like some people can get away with it. I feel like if I wore one, I would look like a pervert.
And here's the disrespectful, I guess. Okay, if you were prepared for it, right? Like you were like, I'm going to wear this. You were prepared. I guess I was trying to think of like I'm prepared. This is where the disrespectful came into. Like it's like, oh man, that's like what's going on all around there? Like not all men are like sleekly shaved and
right.
The water doesn't just glisten off our bodies necessarily. Like we're hairy beasts, you know what I mean? Like for the most part, that's disrespectful. I was just wondering, like and shout out to those dudes. Every time I go out to them, like I'm always like, dude, look at this guy. This guy's very confident,
rocking it.
Just like,
there's certain guys that you can do, and you're like, man, like bravo. Then there's other guys that are like, you kind of look like a pervert.
Some do, and that's the thing. Some you could tell like are just wearing it. Yeah, that's a good point too. Some wear it confidently. Like this is my bathing suit. Some wear it, I feel like, to be a little pervy McGurvy, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, like flipping the switch here. Okay, just to keep it on fair on both sides, right? Like some females wear, their bathing suit just to wear their bathing suit. Some wear them to be like, oh, a little pervy McGurvy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, of course, because of just literally based on my sexual orientation, like, I don't mind pervy McGurvy for that way. You know what I mean? I don't mind it, but still, but it still crosses my mind going, oh, that's a little, I could be like, there's kids around.
Right.
Like
that's a little revealing. Little revealing.
Even as much as like, I appreciate it from being me, which is pervy McGurvy, like it's like, I still am like aware enough going, oh, there's kids around. You know what I mean? Like, hey, be a little bit more respectful.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's my take on it. But every time I see him, I'm like, oh, dude, would I ever wear a Speedo? I mean, I don't even wear tighty whities. So
yeah.
That's a starting point.
I haven't done that since I was like 8.
Yeah, I think the last time I wore tighty whities was the last time my mother was buying my underwear.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was literally the last time. Once I got a job like in high school, like it was immediately like I went to boxers. Now I'm a boxer brief guy, which I'm
a boxer brief guy too.
Yeah, I love the
best
support. You know what I mean? Like I'm around my thighs. That is like just
best of both worlds.
So, anyways. Here we are. No, Matt, we are talking running backs in June. This episode will be the buy episode. Tomorrow's episode will be the sell episode. And who doesn't like a good buy, sell episode? Tons of people do. They want to know, like, what are you doing in the summer? Like you're buying, you're selling, you're trading, trying to, throw those couple of offers out there, keep the league active, right? Poking around like old school Facebook, like poke. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to talk about. Before we get now, we're talking a little bit of theory. If you enjoy the show, we appreciate you here in the summertime. Leave a rating review on a podcast if you got one. I haven't asked for one of those in a while, right? Like support us. Support us.
Appreciate it.
Comments and stars. Unless it's less than 5, then keep that to yourself because we don't want to know. Yeah, we're not worried. We're not worried in your negativity. Like I don't appreciate his comment about Speedos. Like, okay, bro, sorry. That's if you want to wear one, fine. Like I'm not going to protest.
Like we said, some people can wear them confidently and look good.
Yeah, you're right, dude. You're right. And some people, God, even some men look good. Europeans, dominant.
They can rock it.
Yeah, I go to the beach. And I'm like, that guy. I am always judging. Like he's pulling it off. He's not pulling it off. I do. I'm a judger, but I guess mentally I judge everything. So, so we're here in June. It's early June and running backs. So I want to start with just like in the summer, because I get questions like this a lot. Like, oh, should I buy this guy or that guy? And usually it's a running back. And I'm a big proponent in the summertime. Now I just bought Saquon, I think like 3 weeks ago. He's different. I mean, let's put those guys to, we're not talking like Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Devon Achane, Ashton Genty, right? Like let's call that the elite tier as it stands right now. Am I missing somebody?
No, I think so. I'm not sure if I'm ready to put Achane in there, but yes, other than that, I agree.
Okay. And that's fine. He would be the guy that some people wouldn't put there, and I'm totally fine with it because he didn't put up even though when 2 was in last year, he averaged over 17 PPR.
He was great in the receiving game. He wasn't great in the running game. Curious to see how all that works this year.
So that's fair. So take him out and add other guys. Like those guys are always buys, right? Like always buys. And then the next tier is like, all right, I'll buy for the right price. But usually when it comes to running back, that shiny, beautiful toy, the nude beach, may you say. Well, that could not be a beautiful thing too either. So never mind, not that beach. Like if the price is right, usually it's still really expensive. And what is your thought on the summertime buy? Because I always tell people there's no need to do that now. And the reason I say that is because for the most part, the price isn't going to change right from
right now.
September. The price on that running back's there's nothing's going to happen to make that running back cheaper or more expensive, let's say, because even if like their backup got hurt, like he's still the guy, like some guys will go up, like a Trey Benson can go up because James Conner gets hurt in OTAs or minicamp. Like something like that can happen. But for the most part, the guys that you're really trying to trade for, like small deals like that, like, oh, I want Trey Benson, like, oh, I want a second for him. Okay, sure. Whatever. I'm not protesting those, but for the start, like the James Cooks, the Kyron Williams, the Chase Browns, the Breece Halls, the Christian McCaffreys, the Josh Jacobs, the Kenneth Walkers. It's like it's unnecessary risk, right, for the running back, because the only place that value can go is down, right? It can only go down. One injury, something happens, some weird sign-in. Those running backs' value from June to September can only lose value. And that would be an unnecessary risk in my eyes. Is that like, how do you view it? Because that's how I view it. I'm like, there's just no point to do this right now.
I'm with you. Yeah. Once you get to this time of year, because I'm looking to buy them, I'm willing to buy them around rookie time because that's when they're the cheapest. So if I can get one of those guys that I'm excited about for a rookie pick that I'm not going to use as much on a contender or whatever, like I'm good with that. But then once the rookie excitement's over and these veteran running backs start climbing back up, now it's like they have no direction to go. So I'm not as willing to buy a running back today in June unless the price dictates it. Like there's always outliers. There's always exceptions of somebody that's just like they decided yesterday that they want to buy or they want to sell. Okay, well, maybe for some reason there might be a value there, but generally speaking, you're absolutely correct. Like there's just no place for them to go. So I'm either buying them at the rookie time, where at your rookie drafts, or maybe some of you still have rookie drafts, so you might have a window, but at your rookie draft or during the NFL draft or something like that, or I'm waiting till the season is about to begin or has just begun in order to do that.
Yeah, you're always buying if you're my wife going to the store and you come back with something we already have. And I'm like, why'd you buy that? And she's like, oh, it was on sale. It's just too good to pass up. And you're like, yeah, but we already have that. Like just a different version of that, but we have that. And she's like, yeah, but I just couldn't pass it up. Like I saved money. I'm like, I don't understand
how money works.
Saving money, I spend it. So anyways, there's always a window to, buy something, like and sometimes you buy things even when you have them, like that period as a hot phase. And I know everybody's listening was in the same phase because they all sent me pictures of what their wives did. Like when my wife went through that phase where everybody bought the rug that went under the rug in front of your door. And like, everybody's like, dude, my wife did the same thing. And they all sent me the same exact rug. It was like the same thing. So whatever TikTok, Instagram thing that went out, they had to make so much money. They probably own Iraq right now or Dubai. I don't even know. Like, so, like sometimes even if you have it, like the value's too good to pass up. Like I don't need a running back, but boy, I can't pass up that value. I'll be able to flip him later or flip this guy. There's always a window. So, and when I like, Garret, is what you said too, is what does this time of year create? What kind of window does that create? Because we're talking buys. So obviously there's some running backs here we do think are good buys, right? And then after we do our first ones, we do our reads, I'll kind of go through the ADP of guys that I think of buying, and you can stop me when we get to your guy who's your second buy. That makes sense.
Okay. Perfect.
Where what happens this time of year, what is really nice is when there's a rookie influx of these guys that are going on day 3 that people get really enamored about. And, we know from doing this for a very long time, for the most part, those guys barely ever pan out, right? Like it's no bueno for most of those guys. Now there's always outliers. You'll get the Chase Browns, you'll get the Kyren Williams, right? They do pop their heads. So they are worth gambles on. And we preach all the time. Hey, if you're late in a rookie draft, you don't need your 9th receiver. Take the running backs, take the tight ends, right? Like take that value, take the guy that could turn into Kyren Williams, Chase Brown, that at least has a path to turn into that guy. And one of those guys is actually one of your buys. So like that's kind of nice as well.
Nicely.
But in doing so, the excitement of those rookies and those running backs push a lot of those other guys down that are in the same position, right? Those running back 2s that have a clear path that are still young on rookie contracts that we all loved last year, right? Like Marshawn Lloyd could be one of those guys, for example, that gets pushed down. A Trey Benson, who I mentioned earlier. Maybe you still believe in, Jonathan Brooks and that knee injury, even though he won't play in 2025. It's already been determined. Those guys get pushed down because of the new excitement. Like I mentioned, the running back is my favorite thing to call that shiny toy in Dynasty, because it's like, ooh, look at that new shiny toy. I want one. Oh, look at that new iPhone. Look, I need it. Like, what does the same thing as your other iPhone, except for this one, this has a glow around the edge, like it has a different camera button. Like, I still need it. It's the new toy. So, that being said, my first buy is one of those shiny toys that has been now depressed. I buy right now in June of 2025 is Jaylen Wright. And I know I mentioned in passing before, I said next time I had an opportunity to go into detail about it, that I kind of would. And well, lo and behold, here we go.
Here's your opportunity.
It's that new shiny toy. So Jaylen Wright was the Miami Dolphins running back, 4th round running back. They took him 120th overall in the 2024 NFL draft. I say that at the same time, they actually traded a 2025 3rd round pick as well. So kind of think of like the Woody Marks trade, right? Gets drafted in 4th, but they gave him a 3rd the following year to get him. That's an investment, right? Because that's a day 2 draft pick that you gave up for a running back. So they clearly liked what they saw in Jaylen Wright. And what is not to like? Because he fits that offense beautifully. Just kind of like when Etienne went there originally. Like I went on that huge rant, did a video of like Etienne is just I loved him before, but now this is like literally the dream landing spot. This offense is predicated on speed and motion. And Mike McDaniels loves that in his running backs. And Jaylen Wright brings that to the highest degree, definitely from that draft class. I mean, if you remember, Jaylen Wright coming out of Tennessee was one of the most explosive running backs in that draft, right? If you remember his broad jump, it was like 11 foot, like 2 inches, something along those lines. It was insane, like an all-time mark. His 40 time, 4.38. His tape, explosive. So him going into that offense was something that was extremely exciting for me. Coming out there in a weak running back class, and an offense predicated on speed, and you bring a player that does that, and the draft capital they gave up for him, you think about speed, you think about Jaylen Wright. I mean, he ran at like a little over 22 miles per hour. I think it was the fastest running back in that draft class from there too. So he's a really good fit. On top of that, Raheem Mostert is now out of the offense. And that being said, it's him and Devon Achane. And you said, well, I don't have Devon Achane there yet in that lead tier because like what he did behind the tackles, and Jaylen Wright's kind of a bigger, thicker Devon Achane, essentially. So when I look at that opportunity and how they can use him, and what I saw, in his limited time, Jaylen Wright, what he did, his 18% missed tackle rate, his 5.9% explosive run rate, like it gets me excited what I saw on the tape. But it's also just saying, hey, what can that other running back do outside of Achane do in this offense? And we saw it. And we saw it with a 32-year-old running back in 2023. 32, or I think at the time he was going to be 31. Either way, old. In Dynasty running back years, he was a Stegosaurus.
Grandpa.
Yeah, which was before the Tyrannosaurus Rex by like 100 million years. That's how old Stegosaurus is. Raheem Mostert came in that offense with Achane. And when they were on the field together, I mean, this is when Achane was averaging over 7 yards per rush, was averaging over 17 points per game, was like, he entered that tier of like, oh my gosh, do we have the next, Jahmyr Gibbs? The time would be we didn't know what Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be.
We didn't know, but yeah.
The next Alvin Kamara, essentially. Raheem Mostert at 31 years old in this same offense with Achane on the field was running back 5 in PPR leagues. Elite, like championship caliber running back. And that doesn't mean I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, Jaylen Wright's going to beat what Raheem Mostert was in 2023. What I'm saying is there's a very clear path and opportunity for him to present himself in that way. And Achane's missed a little bit of time in both years. And we talked about like, where's the value? Where's the value? Well, we have updated ADP because we run mock drafts all the time on Dynasty Nerds. And if you have the Dynasty GM app, you can see there's a tab in the values that says ADP. You can sort players by ADP. Our ADP is updated weekly. That's how often we update our ADP. Right now, Jaylen Wright's ADP is 52. Running back, not 52 overall, running back 52, Garrett. That's how little value it is. And a lot of that has to do with the influx of this running back class as well. It has pushed Jaylen Wright by the wayside. That means I see unbelievable opportunity ahead of me because I'm happy to pay, as a contender, a second-round pick for Jaylen Wright. I'm happy to do it because that's a gamble that I am interested in, right? There is a clear path that we will know the answer to that production this year. There's no way. If I swing and miss, like it's my first at bat. Like I'm getting up there, I'm striking out, so be it. But if I hit and say he just comes in and he's a running back 2 in this offense, he's like running back 19, 18, somewhere around there. It's not that running back 5. What a massive win for the value. I'm getting somebody who can jump potentially 30 spots in actual value to perceived value at this position. And get him for, say you can get him for 2/3, which I would love to pay. Again, I have no problem paying a late second, so like pick 20th overall. That's not a problem. Just for him to come in and get an opportunity. I mean, he just turned 22 years old, I believe, Jaylen Wright as well. So he is extremely young. They need a running back in this offense. I've already seen Mike McDaniel talk about him as well, saying, hey, we're going to really like give Jaylen Wright an opportunity. Our plan is to use both running backs in this offense. We don't know how long Tyreek Hill is going to be left in this offense. There's already been rumors about Jonnu Smith being traded as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. And I know Achane's a pass catcher running back, but you got to remember, that's also kind of a bonus because they lined Achane up a lot in the slot. They really did. So they could lean on Jaylen Wright as a runner as well. And Jaylen Wright's very viable in the passing game as well. He did decent there in Tennessee catching the football as well. So he's viable in both areas. So for me, when I see a guy who has an opportunity to massively outdo his ADP, I see value. And it kind of piggybacks right off what you said. So I love the way you said it, like this new influx of running backs. Like it pushes guys like this down. It pushes guys like Trey Benson down, Marshawn Lloyd down. And if you go back just 12 months, these are guys that we were really excited about adding to our dynasty roster that we were taking high in the second round, right? Like these are players that we wanted to invest last year, which was an amazing, remember too, that was an amazing draft class. Like some people were sitting there going, oh man, I love Brian Thomas here, but dude, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, you know what I mean? Like, whew, this is good value. So like, it's amazing in dynasty how much 12 months can change. And I always say this, one of my favorite times of year is this time of year. I love to identify the players I loved last year. And that were decent second round picks that didn't do much, that just automatically fall by the wayside and you can get for cheaper value than you would have bought them just 12 months ago. And those guys are just one step closer now to producing, because not everybody produces year one. Some take 3 years. Definitely at like the receiver, more so the tight end or a quarterback. They take time to develop. Now, obviously, running backs do hit the ground running, but some don't have that clear path, right? Like James Conner really blocked Trey Benson pretty well. Josh Jacobs blocked Marshawn Lloyd pretty significantly, and Marshawn Lloyd was hurt as well. Raheem Mostert was still there in Miami. They were paying him. They gave him $1 million raise actually last year. That cleared that path. So we should have saw right away with Jaylen Wright is, oh wow, they just gave Raheem Mostert a raise, which was really unprecedented. Really, that's something they didn't have to do. They gave him an extra $1 million because of what he did in 2023. Knowing they just gave up a day 2 pick and their 4th round pick 120 overall on Wright, which all again tells me is they have a clear path for Jaylen Wright, and that path was 2025. So Jaylen Wright, ADP 52. I love it. I'm trying to find a path. I know we always speak draft capital because it's the easiest way to talk in a vacuum, but maybe you have like an older receiver, an upside guy, like a Darnell Mooney who, that I know Atlanta said, hey, we're going to rely heavily on Darnell Mooney. Like find one of those receivers maybe you don't need, maybe a tight end that you don't need. And I think there's a path to acquire Jaylen Wright pretty cheaply.
No, I like that. I like that buy quite a bit. We mentioned my hesitation on Devon Achane, and it's partly because we just saw how ineffective the Miami Dolphins running game was on the ground last year. And Jaylen Wright had some opportunities. He just looked okay in it, but sometimes it does. It takes a guy a year or two fighting through, learning the scheme, the system, the speed of the NFL. I mean, that's something that I don't think is talked about enough, partly because we've seen some guys be able to handle it really well, but that's a big adjustment from, hey, I'm, a stud amongst other guys my age to now I'm playing dudes that are 5-10 years older than me that have been in these schemes forever, that have had opportunities to play against. Like it could take some time, but I think especially the opportunity that's there. I think that's the biggest thing. And with that, I'll piggyback on it and say for, even less of a cost, he's the 192nd player off the board. I'll throw Ollie Gordon into the mix as well if I can get him, just to secure that second running back in Miami, because both guys are so cheap. And I think both guys have opportunity this year. Ollie Wright was a 6th round guy. So am I banking on him? No, obviously they invested way more in Jaylen Wright. I think he's the more likely of the guys to do it, but why not at that cheap of a cost to say, hey, I do think something else is going to happen in Miami. I do think somebody else is going to get the football. Let me just cover my bases and get both of these guys, because I think they want to be more efficient and effective on the ground in 2025 than they were in 2024.
Oh yeah. 100%.
All right. Well, let me get to my buy. And, I spoke of a guy in the 6th round. I'm going to go to a guy that was actually in the 4th round of this year's class. And you're like, you're already talking about rookies as a buy. Yes, I am talking about rookies as a buy, but this is a player that is pretty far down the board overall. In fact, even lower than the 2 players we just talked about. We talked about guys that are running back 50, what was it? 52 and 50. Right. Yeah, 7. Well, I'm going to talk about Jarquez Hunter at running back 62 overall. You're taking him in the 200s in your startup. His ADP is 207 right now. And this is not a player where I watched his tape and I was like, oh my gosh, he's the best player I've ever seen. But he got a really solid nerd score for me. He did everything pretty well. Like there wasn't anything on his scorecard that I was like, I'm really concerned about this. You look at it, everything is 6.5 to a 7.5, like everywhere. It's just really solid, does the right things, really solid, does the right things, really solid. Like, and who does that kind of remind you of? Maybe guys like Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, really solid players that are in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. But what got this to become a buy for me when I was originally not like overly interested is I was thinking more about it, and I was like, why did they draft him? They have two players that are very similar already. It was already weird that they drafted Blake Corum last year. Now they do it again. But you see that they have a type. And look, we know that we as people have types sometimes. We have certain, blondes versus brunettes or tall versus short or whatever.
Speedos, non-speedos.
You have a type. We all have types. The Rams have a type. All of these guys, 5'9", 5'10", under 210 pounds. Like these are their guys. And I think last year Blake Corum had some opportunities to cut into that role, and he just didn't. He just didn't really do anything with his opportunities. And so it started me thinking, man, is this a situation where they say, hey, maybe we didn't get it right last year, but with this being such a good draft class, we could use a 4th round pick that would normally be like a 3rd round pick and get a guy we really liked. And so I was talking about that even with Rich earlier today. And Rich was like, well, yeah, especially, looking at the video with Sean McVay. And I was like, what video? He's like, you haven't seen the video?
Did you look it up? Did you look it up?
I did look it up.
Okay,
I did.
Good. That's when you were done. I was like, I can't wait to talk about this video in case you didn't.
Go ahead.
See it,
go ahead. Say it.
Everything I need to know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
tell them.
Well, yeah. So obviously, sneak peek into tomorrow's sell episode. This video, and I mentioned this player before, but Sean McVay. This is really fun. If you just Google McVay really wanted Jarquez Hunter, that's all you got to do, and you can watch the draft room and watch this unfold. And the day started, and Les Snead's like, "Oh, what do you think here coming up?" He's like, "Hunter," and Snead's like, "Yeah, man, this guy really fits our offense. What we like." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "This is the number one." He's like, "There's one guy I wanted today." So this is round 4. Like, pick early. There's one guy I wanted today. And it's Jarquez Hunter. And Snead's like, "Yeah, you want him?" He's like, "Yeah, I really want him." He's like, "Well, are you comfortable like moving up to get him?" He's like, Yes, I want. If there's one guy I want to come out today, it's Jarquez Hunter. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm getting excited because I forgot they even trade up for him, right? Les Snead gets on the phone. They move up from 126 to 117. They get with a 6th round pick. They get him. They hang up the phone. They are super excited. They're like, man, this guy fits our offense perfectly. And like you mentioned, it tells me more about Blake Corum than it does about Kyron Williams. So I'm not going to say Kyron Williams, like, oh, Kyron Williams, sorry. But again, I talked about this draft class. I kind of talked about it with JJ last week as well. It's like, I think these running backs going in round 4 in most years kind of tells us these guys were thought of in like 3rd round draft cap, like guys like Cam Scattaboo, guys like Jarquez Hunter, guys like Woody Marks. These teams looked at them as kind of 3rd round value. Obviously the Texans gave up a 3rd round pick, and they were so abundant, people felt comfortable instead of the end of round 3 just waiting to round 4 because there were so many of them, right?
Yep.
So the fact that I saw Sean McVay get so excited, the fact that Kyron Williams is in the last year of his deal, and I'm kind of like going a little bit over my sell reasons, but like I'm gonna stop it there. Just go watch the video, and I'll wait till tomorrow. Should I get a little bit more into it? Like that tells you enough about Jarquez Hunter, like you said, for the value, right? Like we talk about sometimes when we say players are sells, it doesn't mean we think they're bad. It's just we don't agree with the value in ADP. Same with the buy. We don't think this guy is going to necessarily be Kyron Williams, running back 7 back-to-back years, or Jaylen Wright's going to be Raheem Mostert. But we absolutely love the value and the path and the opportunity that presents himself. And I think you're 100% right, Garrett. I think the Jarquez Hunter draft pick tells us more about Blake Corum and what they saw than Kyron Williams, if that makes sense as well. So I'm sorry. I just got real excited that you watched the video because I told you we were going over on the way in today. I was like, hey, you want to do the show a little bit earlier since Matt's out there wearing a Speedo? And you're like, oh, dude, that'd be dope. Like instead of doing these late night shows, that'd be cool. And you told me who your I was like, oh, dude, that's perfectly because I was going to talk about this other guy tomorrow. And I was like, and I said, did you watch that video? And you're like, no, I even know exactly. Go watch the video. So I hand it back to you. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. It's good to see that we're on the same page about this. And that's the thing. When you're looking at guys with ADPs in running back 50, 60, 70, you're not saying that they are perfect prospects, perfect players, that, everything's going to work out. You're saying, I see either enough talent, a path, or some specific trait that intrigues me enough to say, I could see them getting to play. And if they get to play, they can do enough with it to make my fantasy team better. And that's what we're looking at. These are just those paths to make our team better. Now, Jarquez Hunter might get a bunch of opportunity and now end up in a much higher range, where now you're looking at him more in the high-end backup range of the Tyjae Spears, Jaylen Warrens, guys like that now he went from running back 60-something to now he's running back 38, 39, 37. And that's a massive value spike. You can either use him or then trade him on that gained value, and you just turn a 4th-round pick into a late 2nd-round pick. And that's how you get incrementally better on your team.
Yeah, think about the Rams, like how often since that Todd Gurley deal, they just kind of roll through their running backs, right? Sony Michel, Cam Akers. They kind of just they're like, I'll ride that hot hand. That's good, And again, seeing that Jarquez Hunter excitement tells me all right, well, if Kyron Williams wants to play hardball, they'll probably let him walk. You know what I mean? What, are you going to go over that $12 million mark somewhere in there? We'll just, we'll see what we have in Jarquez Hunter this year. If we really like it, he'll be the guy who gets the opportunity next year to turn into Kyron Williams, right? Like what we've seen them able to do. Or maybe they'll draft a guy next year and it kind of hurts Jarquez Hunter. But again, value. So what are we looking for in running backs here in June and July? Because put the double J's together. It's the value if you're going to buy a running back. And it's cheap value, where again, these are the running backs now, like the Jaylen Wrights, the Jarquez Hunters. These guys in this range are quite the opposite of what I said earlier. Like these guys that you don't want to buy because their value can only go down. These are the guys' value can only go up, right? Their value is already in the low 50s to 60s, where all we need is OTAs, mini camps. The very beginning, when we get into July, when the actual camp opens up, ooh, man, Jarquez Hunter is getting run with the number 2s over Blake Corum, a little bit more carries. He's looking really good. Once that report breaks from Adam Schefter, or any kind of report on Twitter, and we see it, Hunter's getting reps with the 2s. His ADP is going to go from 60 to the 30s. It really somebody's going to get real excited and draft that because people overreact to news, right? Which is fair because sometimes I like to do that. If I hear any kind of news, I try to snap on that player, and
especially if it's a player you believe in already.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see a couple analysts talking about, they retweet out, oh yeah, dude, I just bought Jarquez Hunter for 2/3, right? This is great value, and people are starting. I mean, it's our job, right? Our job is to
react.
Luckily, our job helps dictate some of the market, some of that. But I start talking about it. Other Dynasty analysts and websites start talking about his value is going to skyrocket, and all it takes, we're all going to base it off of what we're seeing in camp, and that always doesn't translate to production, right? Austin Watkins for the Browns was a receiver. We liked his tape a lot, right? Doesn't get an opportunity, comes in for the Browns, and he's playing the preseason, led all of preseason in receptions and yards. And we're like, dude, hell yeah, this is our guy. Browns needed receiver help too. Doesn't even make the team. Doesn't make the team. And doesn't play anywhere else either. So it's just because people do produce it doesn't change, but it does dictate ADP, right? We see a wide range of news that go through there. So I love Jarquez Hunter and Jaylen Wright. Before we go on to a couple more guys that we're going to talk about, I got to tell everybody about our friends over at FastDraft. Besides sending trade offers in June and in July and early August, what else are we doing to help scratch that fever? You might be out there wearing a Speedo. You might, be going on baseball trips, summer vacations. I'm going to Cooperstown in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to miss at least a show, I believe, maybe possibly 2. We'll see. I got to go to Cooperstown, watch my 12 12U baseball team, try to get a couple dubs. So the best thing to do to keep your mind focused on player value, and honestly kind of use that as an ADP as well. Like, see, look, ooh, wow, like Jarquez Hunter just went in what round? Like, ooh, are people really valuing that high? You know, best ball drafts will kind of give you that perceived value as well. So FastDraft offers that. It offers you to play best ball, scratch that itch, get in there and do some drafts in a very fast way, right? There's other ADP sites or best ball sites out there. None of them draft faster than FastDraft. You get in there and it's like boom, 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 boom. I'm done. I know some of you guys, that's your sex life. I get it. You know, I get it. We've all been there. So I understand. So FastDraft doesn't give you the opportunity to have some fun, put you in position to like join their $50,000 contest and win some serious cash, right? Like daddy needs a new car. Mama needs a new purse. That's what I judge on. Like, I feel like my wife values purses and their cost as much as a car. Like, I don't understand it. You know, I don't understand it. Like, if a car has like a BMW symbol on it, usually it's going to be a little bit higher performing car compared to a piece of leather that just has like 2 letters on it. You know, like, is that Las Vegas? Oh, it's not. Okay. Well, I'm very confused here. I don't understand why it costs so much. So with that opportunity, that's what FastDraft does. Go to any app store, go to draftfaster.com. And if you do, and you use the promo code nerds and you play in at least a $10 league, that's all I got to use. Promo code nerds. We are going to hook you up here at Dynasty Nerds. We mentioned the live ADP on the Dynasty GM. We're going to give you a full year subscription to the Nerd Herd. You get the Dynasty GM, our app. Go ahead and download it. Check all the cool features on there. The film room, the Nerd Score, all our new tools that are coming out this summer. We just hired a new developer. We got more dope ass tools coming for you. All that doesn't change your price, right? You get all the same cool stuff that we add for the same price. FastDraft is going to hook you up with that with a full year subscription. And if you're already a member, don't worry, we're including you as well. Within a week, we're going to send you a coupon code to our merch store. You can buy whatever you want. A shirt's going to equal out to be free. Anything else that is going to be drastically discounted to the price of a shirt. So if you want a hoodie, a beanie, maybe a picture of me in a Speedo, it's all there, availability upon request, except for the Speedo part.
All right. And don't forget about myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com. An amazing place to go play in some of those new Dynasty leagues. You're like, Garrett, I want to be in a new league so bad, but I only got like 4 guys that know what they're doing and want to play. Head over there. You can get a league, but you don't have to worry about it just being with some randos. They're going to take all your money and run. They have never, ever had a league fold. All your payments are safe and secure when you go on there, whether it's a $35 league or $2,500 league. You can go there, get $25 off your first entry as well with promo code NERDS. That's $25 off with the promo code NERDS, myffpc.com.
All right. So as we continue on here, I'm going to kind of go list. People are like, oh, Rich, you got ADP on the app? I'm driving, bro. I wonder what that ADP looks like. I'm going to go through here. When we get to your second buy or anything that you want to talk about, I know you're torn on 2 different things. Just stop me. We'll conversate. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of look. I'm not going to say where they're at until we stop, but I'll give you kind of the latest ADP at running backs of what's going on. And I'll tell you, if I see anything that kind of strikes me as a buy here in June, July, I'll say something. Cool?
Okay. Sounds good.
And you stop me whenever you want to sprinkle in some GP.
Stop and conversate and listen.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Ooh, you're talented. All right. So obviously the first guy off the board is Bijan Robinson at pick 9. Only 2 spots later. Or no, that's actually 8. Bijan has an ADP of 8 because number 1 is the name here. And at 10, Jahmyr Gibbs. Then I go Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley, Mario and Hampton, Devon Achane, Bucky Irvin, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, TreVeyon Henderson, Kyren Williams. I got something to say about that tomorrow. Kyren Williams. And then it goes to Quinshon Judkins here.
All right. Stop there for a second.
I'd want to stop here because I see value here. I do.
Okay. So this is the thing that I struggle with a little bit is I look at some of these running backs, specifically TreVeyon and Quinshon. We see them at running back 10 and running back 12. And on the surface, I can understand how you'd be like, we have not seen them play yet. and we are already taking them as running back ones. There's nothing that you could possibly say right now that would make sense. Why would I take them any earlier than that? Here's the thing. A lot of this goes back to two things. One, how did you evaluate these guys in the pre-draft process? What did you think about them as players, period? Then two, what do you think of where they went in the draft and the situation that they found themselves in? So we look at a guy like TreVeyon Henderson. We've done nerd scores for 6 years now, which is still kind of crazy to me to think that it's been that long. But we've done 6 years worth of nerd scores now. He is the third highest running back I've graded. Quinshon Judkins, sixth highest running back I've graded. So you're telling me that in almost every other class, they're going to be the first or second running back off the board that we've had. First or second in every other one. But now, because it's such a good class, we already have Ashton Genty at running back 3 and Omarion Hampton at running back 5. So I loved both of these players as prospects. Then you add into the fact that they both had that early second round draft capital. TreVeyon goes to a team that is going to utilize him a lot, I believe, because they need playmakers. And every report out of camp about TreVeyon so far has been glowing. Like his pass catching ability, his explosiveness, like he just plays at a different speed.
Shining through.
Yes, absolutely. Quinshon Judkins goes to a situation where they desperately need a running back, and he plays a very similar brand and style to the guys that preceded him, namely Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, guys that were there and were very, very good running backs in this offense for years. So I love the draft capital. I love the player, and I love the situations for these guys. So all of that being said, I would be willing to pay a little bit more than their ADP right now, because if they do what I think they are going to do, good luck getting them after this point. Because even sometimes guys have an ADP where, yes, they have a good ADP, but like you can still acquire them. Once a running back has a certain ADP and they've proven it for a year, you're not getting them anymore. There's no chance of it. Like good luck trying to get Jahmyr Gibbs. Good luck trying to get Bijan Robinson. It's tough to even get guys like Bucky Irving at this point. So
you can't replace them. They're too limited supply. They have youth. We talk about why it's the most easiest position to just replace and sell. It's because it's just that constant flow of new running backs, right? Constant flow. So when people do feel like they have a young guy who's 22, 21 years old that is on still their rookie deal, and they have like 3 to 4 to 5 years left in that deal, it's like nobody wants to give that up because everybody needs running back help. That's why I call it the new shiny toy, because everybody needs a new shiny toy at all times. And you're right. And you might think, Garrett, like, okay, Garrett says that, but like, dude, Quinshon Judkins has an ADP of 50th overall. TreVeyon Henderson, 43rd overall. Like, what do you mean? Like, buy and looking here, like, okay, outside of some of these quarterbacks, like of ADP wise, like the Brock Purdy's, the Cam Wards, the Bakers, the Kylers, like I'm not trading away quarterbacks in Superflex tight end premium leagues. And again, this is Superflex tight end premium ADP, by the way. We didn't mention that. Like, I'm not giving quarterbacks away for running backs ever, right? But when I look at TreVeyon, guys ahead of him that I see that I'm totally willing to trade, right? I'm going to list some guys that are above TreVeyon Henderson's ADP that I'm totally comfortable making a lateral move on. Sam Laporta, Jonathan Taylor, Tet McMillan, Breece Hall, Travis Hunter, AJ Brown, Bucky Irvin. Those are 7 guys. So his ADP is 42. I just gave you 7 guys. So I'm valuing him right around like the 35th overall player. Now, that being said, there is some quarterbacks here. Like, so ADP is a draft, right? So everything's a little bit different than rankings at the same time. Like, there's some quarterbacks I value a little bit higher, like Brock Purdy, I value higher, Baker, Kyler, a little bit higher. But all those other guys, Garrett, 100% willing to give. Quinshon's a little different because they have Dylan Simpson there, and I don't know if he's necessarily just going to play. The Browns just had their golf outing, yesterday, and they were talking to Joe Bitonio, the head coach, and Bitonio said, "Hey, I'm super excited. One of the reasons it came back this year is because we're going back to the original Stefanski offense. And if you remember, that was a Nick Chubb Kareem Hunt offense, and Chubb was a fantastic running back. Now,
running back 1.
That being said, he wasn't that elite tier running back, like the top 5, top 6 guy, but he was
I think he was 11.
Yeah, running back 1, which is great. So that does lower Quinshon Judkins' value just a little bit. Doesn't mean he can't be better than Nick Chubb, but what are we all hoping? Like, oh, he's Nick Chubb for the next 4 years. Like, that's a home run pick, right? A running back 1. That does, like, not all those guys. Like, I would take Travis Hunter ahead of him, AJ Brown. I would take Tet McMillan ahead of him still. But that being said, guys like T. Higgins, Kyron Williams, clearly, I'd be willing to gamble on Jonathan Taylor, but I don't know if I necessarily make that move. But Quinshon Judkins,
think that's where are you at? Are you a contender or are you more of a rebuild?
Yeah. But I mean, Quinshon's only 21 years old, and he won't be 22 until I think right around December, I think. So like he's a super young guy too. And remember, even TreVeyon Henderson is 22, going to be 23 come December, essentially. He's a complete year older than Quinshon. So Quinshon offers youth, opportunity, and draft capital. So those are 2 guys. I'm glad you stopped me, because as soon as I saw Quinshon, I was like, dude, I would take Quinshon Judkins over 25-year-old Kyron Williams every day of the week, right? Like, he feels way more secure, because until Kyron Williams gets extended, he has zero security. He's a this year running back for me, right? Like, he's a this year running back for me. Breece Hall, I'm not trading Breece Hall straight up for him, but dude, he's 24, just turned 24. Coach is already talking about using a little oh my gosh,
trio.
Trio, yeah. A timeshare is what I'm thinking. I love when you get those brain farts. You're like, oh, what's your name? I'm like, it begins with an R.
You know what? The funny thing is, yesterday, before the roster rescue show that you and I did, I do a pre-show for 15 minutes before the show. And somebody asked me about a trade that involved, it was somebody and Young. And for whatever reason, Bryce Young did not come to my brain. I was like, is this IDP? Is it Chase Young? Is that like why? That's where my brain went. No idea. And they're like, dude, Bryce Young. Oh yeah, Bryce Young. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and you're right. Like, when you're talking about running backs you're willing to buy, and sometimes what's an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow. So TreVeyon Hunter and Quinshon Judkins definitely align with that to me. Like, what looks like an overpay today could be an underpay tomorrow, strictly on what you said before. Because once we get past Quinshon Judkins, here are the next group of ADP running backs, which I'm glad these guys are ahead of them, but none of these guys I feel like overpaying for or I'm buying at even, honestly, face value. Because again, these are the kind of guys that can only go down in value, right?
Right.
Next, it goes Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey. 100% buying RJ Harvey here at 76. That's tremendous value. Guys all should as well. I put a ton of offers out there. Unfortunately, I'm in nerd herd leagues, and they all know how much I love RJ Harvey, and nobody's trading for him, trading to me, because you're all selfish. And just because I believe in him so much, you're riding my coattails here. Nobody is probably higher than RJ Harvey at this point, or talks about him more than Dynasty Rich. Here I am. Next off the board, Chuba Hubbard.
I do like Chuba Hubbard. He was another guy that I considered like as one of my potential buys, just because we saw what he did last year. And even though, yes, they're like, well, they used a second round pick on a running back last year. Well, they also gave Chuba a new contract, and that guy's out for the season already with an injury. So I think he's one of those, like, even at this spot, I've seen him go a lot cheaper than this even. So like, he's one that I'm just kind of feeling out there. Like, as a contender, I really like him as my RB3, and he's going to, I think, give RB2 type of production. So he's not like a crazy value here, but he is a guy that I like for the price tag for like the next 2 years or so.
So Chuba Hubbard, actually, and obviously I mentioned RJ Harvey to me. I'm willing to overpay in people's eyes for RJ Harvey. I really am. But these next 3 guys, so like Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, those guys that named before him, even Christian McCaffrey, like there's no value there, right? There's no discounts. But starting at Chuba Hubbard, which has an ADP of 77, right? Overall, Chuba Hubbard is now running back 21 that we're talking about. These next 3 guys, for the value, right? As long as you're going to live in a 2025 window for this value, Not saying I don't think the buck stops here, but as long as you trade for him and you live, okay, I'm trading for these guys for this year. Anything after this is great.
Yep.
I think good value for a contender, Chuba Hubbard, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara. And I would probably work backwards because that's probably, again, that's perceived value. Alvin Kamara is somebody I'm in on. His contract's pretty much guaranteed for the next 2 years. Joe Mixon, not so much. So I'd rather have Alvin Kamara than Joe Mixon. And then Chuba Hubbard just got a new contract. So those are 3 guys as a contender. I wouldn't mind buying. Joe Mixon's value is so low. As long as you live in that 2025 window, that's cool. The other 2 kind of offer a little bit more. And Joe Mixon will be 29 this year. After that, it goes David Montgomery, Cam Scattaboo, Isaiah Pacheco. Don't like that value at all. I'm not going to talk about him as sell, but he'd be a sell for me. Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne's good value. More so after yesterday's news of training camp of Liam Cohen coming out and going out of his way to talk up Travis Etienne. Now, I don't know if that's for trade value or what, but he said, listen, man, I've read a lot of stuff out there and seen a lot of stuff out there about Travis Etienne. It couldn't be further from the truth. I love what he does in space. I love his speed. He's our running back. So for a guy who right now, Travis Etienne, who is running back 27 off the board, who's already finished as a running back 1, who his contract is guaranteed this year because they picked up a 5th-year option. We talked about him probably 7 months ago. We were talking about Travis Etienne as a good buy because people were still down on him because they picked up that 5th-year option. All of a sudden, they go out and draft Bashal Tutin, and people are drafting Tutin ahead of Travis Etienne. Like, that's not the real value there. So I do see Etienne for the right price as value. Then it goes Tyrone Tracy, James Conner, Brian Robinson. And listen, for the right price, all these guys were mentioned now are now starting to enter like, okay, I'm interested. I don't want to buy the top 24 running back. James Conner is running back 29. I am very interested in a 2025 window. DeAndre Swift. Listen, we've all poo-pooed on DeAndre Swift a ton. He hasn't really produced where we drafted him. But right now he's going back running back 31. He's the number 1 running back in this offense that just bolstered the offensive line, added 87 different passing weapons in the passing game for Caleb Williams. It's him and like Roshan Johnson and Kyle Monungai. DeAndre Swift's the guy, right? Yeah. Good value there for DeAndre Swift. I'm buying DeAndre Swift for the right price. Then it gets a little ugly here with Zach Charbonnet, Tony Pollard. Good value, but again, guys that need an opportunity. Trey Benson, Aaron Jones, Bashal Tutin, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. A little bit more value. Tajay Spears, buying, right? Buying. Ramondre Stevenson. And then we get this mix of like these rookies. Jaden Blue, Rashad White, Javonte Williams. You mentioned Garrett as a nice opportunity here in Dallas. Yeah. Tank Bigsby, Dylan Sampson, Devin Neal, Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins, Isaac Guerrero, Braylon Allen. Again, Braylon Allen going ahead of like the guys we mentioned, Jaylen Wright, Jarquez Hunter, like doesn't make sense to me. Even like a guy like Ray Davis, who goes Blake Corum, Jaylen Wright, Ray Davis, Jonathan Brooks. Like, hey, if Jonathan Brooks costs that much, he's not gonna play all this year and he has a chance to bounce back, I'll invest. I'll risk it for the biscuit. Give me some gravy.
I literally just did a thing, 32 teams, player to buy on each team. It's going to be out on YouTube. Maybe by the time you guys listen to this, Ray Davis was my pick for the Bills with all that contract dispute and stuff and it not being an amazing class last year. He could all of a sudden just be like, oh, shoot, Ray Davis is starting running back for the Bills in 2026. Yeah. Like
Kyron Williams, right? So that's it. Those are running back buys here in June and July, which is it's tough to do. We'll start with sells tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, just to give you a heads up, it's gonna be a shorter show. It's gonna be a shorter sell because a lot of these guys are sells. But at the same time, we'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. Thanks for listening. Like I asked earlier, if you have the time, if you haven't done it yet, or anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you can leave a rating or review. This time of year, I'll usually ask a little bit more of that kind of favor because it really does help the show. Get the show out. I mean, everybody thinks like, oh, dude, who doesn't know about the Dynasty Nerds podcasts? Like, there's still people out there that don't know about it, right? So when you leave a rating review, it helps the algorithm, right? Like same thing. Like, why do people comment on YouTube videos and stuff like that? It helps the algorithm. That's why they ask you, hey, leave a comment, leave a review, because it really helps the algorithm. So it's the simplest way to support the show, non-financially. Just get out there, leave a rating review. I always appreciate if you leave a rating review. That's great. If you leave a comment too, that's more of a personal thing. I enjoy reading the comments. Like I really do. Like I check on that. I don't like, the negative ones are okay. They don't hurt my feelings, but the positive ones really do put a smile on my face. And it doesn't happen very often because I'm walking around these beaches and seeing Speedos, and I'm not as happy. We'll be back tomorrow with some Dynasty sells.
See ya.